Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Zanny and today, after a 2-month break, I'm back at it again to do an album review of one of my current favorite girl groups, that is IVE, with their first full-length album called IVE, which put all together, it's a bit confusing. I know that they tried to do a smart play on the group's name, but still, IVE. Why? But still, after a long list of all killers with their debut song 11, followed by Love Dive, After Like, IVE is back with their newest album, and from the very beginning, from the pre-release, it was like an all killer right away. With the pre-release Kitsch and the title track I Am, they just solidified once again and proved everyone how popular they are and how good their songs are as well, because even if you don't like it, you heard of it, which is really strong for a K-pop group. So before I start dabbling and getting ahead of myself and talking about it all, let's first share the track list. So like I said, this album has 10 tracks in total. So we have Blue Blood, I Am, the title track, Kitsch, the pre-release, Lips, Heroine, Mine, Hypnosis, Not Your Girl, Next Page, Cherish, and last but not least, Shine With Me. For this album as well, a lot of the members have participated in the writing of some of the songs, which I found to be really cool, because IVE is a newer group. Let's say they debuted like 2 years ago, so still new to it all, but they have already been experimenting with composing and writing of their songs, which I find to be so cool that Starship actually lets them do that, because sometimes we know that the members can do it, but the company doesn't really let them do so. So I think I mentioned it all. Let's check my notes. So yeah, if you see me looking down, it is because I have written all my notes here because it has been a long time. I actually wrote it down when the album came out, and so it has been a while since it was released. I think at the end of March, beginning of April, and we are in June already. So without further ado, let's kick things off with the first track being Blue Blood. The album starts with Blue Blood that they actually performed during their live concert called The Prom Queens. I did not have the opportunity to watch the live show completely. I just watched the performance for this song in particular, as I was looking for like performances of the various songs of this album. This song in particular really represents IVE, in my opinion. It is really punchy, really hard-hitting. The beats are really intense. It has a cool build-up all throughout it, and it feels like it is very like badass, very like confident. It maintains a really nice balance between how cool it is and between the more subtle vocals of the track. And so we have the more like subtle parts that are more of the rap verses, and then having the more hard-hitting parts are more like upbeat, let's say, with the belting for the pre-chorus. And overall, with all of that, it doesn't feel like it is going all over the place, not at all. It still maintains a very cohesive and coherent vibe all throughout it. It's a really nicely balanced song. The song is bold and sassy, like I said before, which goes really well with the lyrics it is expressing all throughout it, as it is making a reference to nobility and grace that they have. And with all of that in mind, I do think that it is a song that conveys really well IVE's concept and vibe. They're very elegant, very sophisticated. They can also be very bold and trying new things and try to express themselves, and I feel like with this album that definitely showed us that with a more mature vibe as well. Only downside of this song for me is how over repetitive it tends to be after a while. Then we move on to the title track I Am. I Am is IVE showing us how mature they are, like a new version of themselves. The title itself is very self-explanatory. The song is all about them exploring their own path, being true to themselves while still changing and maturing and just growing up. Just like their song and lyrics, IVE'S really wanted to explore a new concept and a new sound whilst being as charismatic as ever. And with this one, I do think that they really showcased us just how capable they are, especially because even during their live performances, one thing that they were really criticized for was that they never, or not never, but most of the time they did lip sync. And in this case in particular, for this new comeback, this new era of IVE, they really went for it and decided to sing live, which was so freaking enjoyable. I must say, I don't criticize idols for lip syncing because they have to put on a performance, and the 4th and now 5th gen of K-pop really focuses on performing, on the dancing skills, on everything that is in a performance and not just singing. But I still admire groups that go through it and actually attempt to sing live and do it, no matter if their voice is shaky. I don't want perfect, I just want real. And I think IVE with this one really showcased that they were capable of doing so, and the live performances were all so freaking enjoyable for that reason in particular, in my opinion. Going back to its release, the MV is all about the IVE members walking around very confidently in this lavish mansion and traveling in private jets, just showcasing all the luxury and everything, because like I said, IVE is a very elegant group, so I think it sort of matches really well. And actually, by the way, talking about private jet, the meme that came out of that part of the MV, Heroine is definitely an it girl. She just gave us the meme of the year. And so you see them with the luxury bags and shoes, and they set off this sort of fashion show performing the choreo of I Am, which by the way I did really enjoy. I really like that choreo. I think is really nice, and they make it seem really easy, which it is. It's not as complicated as some other 4th and 5th gen groups choreo, but it's still really well done and powerful as well. And with all of that in mind, the chorus of the song, the lyrics really express it really well, how empowering it is and how proud they are of being who they are, saying, "That's my life, a beautiful galaxy, be a ride at the genre is fantasy, a big stage will open for me tomorrow, so that is who I am." And like I was mentioned before, with the sort of evolution of the concept and how well they perform now their live vocals, I do think that all the members really worked a lot for this new era of the group. Like I said, we can see clearly on stage that they are much more confident. They perform really well even when they have a live mic on. And so it feels like they are really showcasing us what they are able to do, and now they are not really set back by all the scandals and controversies and just hate that they gotten when they first debuted, because of how popular and how quickly they become. Especially Eugene and Liz, I knew that they could sing so beautifully, but with this one in particular, they went so high. I was really surprised, and plus they were really able to showcase those vocals live as well, which I appreciated a whole lot to see. Okay, then we move on to Kitsch. It was the pre-release leading up to this new album, and it is so freaking Gen Z. There's no way around it. It is Gen Z. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, from the dance demo videos I've seen on YouTube, it was actually supposed to be called 90s Bitch, but they decided to go with Kitsch because I think it has the same sound. For this one in particular, Gaul and Ray wrote their rap verses, which I thought was really nice. And I know that Ray has been doing it for the other previous albums as well. And Gaul only started rapping with After Like, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember her rapping in other B-sides from the first 2 mini albums, but you can correct me in the comments down below. From all the references to the 90s, I must say that when I first listened to it, I felt a little bit cringe. I don't know why. I'm perhaps just too old because they were talking about the 90s and I was born in the 90s. They are much younger than I am. I'm from 95 and I think the oldest is from like the year 2000 or something. Still a 5-year gap, 5 to 6 year gap. So it felt a bit cringe to listen to it. But after a while, I just got used to it and put that to the side and just enjoy the song. And that is something that I feel like it's cool that I don't understand Korean to that extent, because otherwise I don't think I would be able to just listen to the song. Like the OOTD and stuff like that, I'm just like, no, don't talk about social media in a song like that. That's a me problem, I know, that has nothing to do with the song. But also in this song, Liz has like a couple of seconds, no, more than that, like perhaps 5 seconds in it, and knowing that she's the main vocalist, and I know that sometimes the sort of titles that you have in the group don't really matter, but still like 5 seconds, that's really not a lot, and I was expecting her to have a little bit more of it. I know that it is a more rap oriented song, but still, like, Yoonjin and Wooyeon do not rap and they had a lot of the spotlight. Like, I'm reviving an old battle because it was all that people talked about when he was released. I'm like 2 months late, but I'm still talking about it. I'm still not over it. No, just kidding. I don't really care anymore. But I just found it to be such a shame, especially when you listen to songs such as I Am or other songs on this album and you see that that girl can sing, so why don't you let her sing? But that's besides the point. The song is all about the members expressing the fact that they don't like people judging them and that they themselves are the new trend and they just want to be authentic and themselves and not care about it all. And so overall, Kitsch has a nice hook. It's a bit over repetitive for the chorus because the kitsch, 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 kitsch. The last section of the song is really intense and I like that. I like the choreo as well. I like their outfits on stage performing this song in particular. I don't know why, I like the aesthetic of it. It is really nice. It is very bold and confident and it really suits the vibe that they created already with I Am and Blue Blood. And now we move on to the middle section of this album, which is more like B-side oriented. Those are songs that I have not seen them perform live and there are no like MVs or other videos of them performing them. So the first of which is Lips. So this song is a very like old school cute song, which is a nice contrast compared to the 3 previous songs that are very bold, pop, intense tracks. The vocals are very sweet, very flowery, airy, just overall cute, but there's nothing particular about it. It is just a new side of IVE. The entire aesthetic of the song is very summery. It has this sort of mellow verses, chilly beat. It's very like so, like not a ballad, but it is very much so on a different speed compared to the previous songs, like I said before. It's a very easy to listen track. Very, very enjoyable, but there's nothing in particular about it that made me want to listen to it more and more. The background instrumental, mainly with the piano and the guitar, is really, really playful and bright, which brings sort of a nice vibe to the entire track. So, in my opinion, it is a nice addition to this album. It adds a new version of IVE to it all that we don't see a lot with their title tracks alone. It is a nice addition, but definitely not my favorite track on this album. The next song is Heroine, and this one was a nice surprise for me. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the IVE members have been participating more and more in the writing of their own songs, especially with this latest album. And so I was really impressed to learn that Yoonjin wrote completely alone. She was the sole writer of this song, Heroine, and that surprised me quite a lot. Especially when you look at the lyrics, you might think that well, it's an idol song, it might be about love, about the hardships of love or the different stages of love, but not at all. She is actually talking about the anti-fans and how hurtful it was to be criticized for the smallest things, but that because of the fans and because of she knows that not everyone will like them, she found that strength to endure the harsh comments of the anti-fans, because at the end of the day, she is the heroine, I don't know how to pronounce it, because at the end of the day, she is the heroine of her own story, and that is so freaking encouraging, empowering, and sort of beautiful. The melody is very bright, very sweet, but the lyrics are very bittersweet for the reasons that I just mentioned, because she does tackle a very important subject and very personal as well. By listening to the lyrics, or in my case by reading the lyrics, you can sort of guess how hard it was on the members to get through all of that hate, and still today they get hate for the most insignificant of things, and it's just part of being an idol and being so popular so quickly. And so they want to endure it, but at the same time they want to prove them wrong, which you can see by how they are sort of evolving their career, which I find to be so freaking nice that they find the strength to do so. And with all of that, it sort of gave me another impression of IVE. I already liked their songs, but sometimes I was feeling a little bit iffy about the group. But with this new approach and seeing what they really think about it all and how conscious they are of their situation, it made me appreciate them all the much more. Going back to the track, the intro is quite soft and sweet and flowery. The vocals are mainly airy and soft, which is a nice contrast with the lyrics, as I just mentioned. The melody of the chorus is super bittersweet as well, and just overall it creates for a very, very particular song that when listening to the entire album you sort of pay more attention to it right away. And the bridge is my favorite part of the entire song. Continuing with songs that were written by the members, mine was written by Uyeon, which is quite impressive as well, especially as Uyeon being the hit girl that she is. A lot of people sort of pay more attention to her visuals than to her skills, so it's really cool that she's able to express that in the songs that she's writing and also when she is performing on stage, because for example, when there was this lazy scandal of Uyeon, the next performance she was giving her all. So it feels like they are super aware of everything that is being said online. The online discourse, they know of it, they follow it, and perhaps it can be also even more difficult to manage it all when you know what everyone is saying about you. But I think because they are aware of it, they can sort of have a sense of control of what is going on and not just be a little bit blind to it all and just continue moving forward. They still do that whilst knowing what is being said, so they can evolve and change, which I think you really need to be a really strong person to do that. But that's besides the point. So in this song in particular, Uyeon talks about the desire of possessing a loved one. All of it being conveyed in a very cool, soft pop track, with the instrumental here being really soft as well, and actually leaving the space for the vocals to shine mainly, which I did really enjoy, and I really want to see them performing this song live. The rhymes in it are a little bit repetitive, which in terms makes the song a little bit repetitive as well, but not to the point that I wouldn't like to listen to it anymore. I actually really enjoy it. And with this review, notice how many times I said soft. The overall vibe of it is very soft. And so this two-part chorus with the second part building it up a little bit more makes it that the song doesn't follow too much onto that sort of mellow vibe overall. Then we move on to Hypnosis, which is one of my favorite songs on this album. The rap verses were written by Gaul and Ray as well, and I just like this track a whole lot because it's quite different from what we've listened to or seen until now from IVE in this album. So the song starts out with this sort of glitched out synthesizer run before it breaks into a staccato, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, instrumental, which I found to be so interesting. Then it is really well layered with soft and flowery vocals, and that sort of effortlessly fills the rest of the track, which makes it overall for a very polished track. I really like the production of it. The instrumental is almost sort of hypnotic, which goes really well with the theme and the title of this song, as the lyrics are sort of expressing and comparing love to how you feel when you're in hypnosis, like in hypnotic state. It gives off this sort of mysterious vibe as well because you don't know what is going to happen, and I thought that it was a really nice addition to this album. We didn't have that sort of mysterious, not evil, but like bad side of IVE until now. Additionally, we have at the end of the song a really fast-paced rap verse from Ray and Gaul, which I did enjoy a whole lot, especially as it is the end of the song. Makes it for a very memorable ending to it all. Are you still watching? Okay, perfect. Let's continue. I know it's a very lengthy video, but we are here to talk about it all in details, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. So the next one is Not Your Girl. For this one, also Ray and Gaul wrote the lyrics for the rap verses, which is once again quite impressive. So this is a very summery dance pop track, very different from the previous ones. It is very fun, very upbeat, and in comparison with the previous songs that were all about like loving yourself and just like being who you are and not caring about the others, this one is more about like seizing the moment and start a relationship, which is a totally different message from the previous ones. Also, in general, I think it is a nice track and it shows a different side of IVE, but it's not really my cup of tea. I like those types of songs, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there is something missing, something special, something that elevates the song as the other songs that I just mentioned until now had. There's like not that sort of innovation in sound that IVE showcases in the previous tracks. I feel like there's something missing. This song is very like 2020, very like early Twice in a way. The guitar and the bass lines make it feel a little bit cheesy in my opinion. Very like I said, early Twice vibe. And I like those types of styles. I love Twice when they first debuted, but I feel like after everything that IVE has showed us, this one is not living up to my expectations. It's nothing like huge, but it's just like not what I was expecting. It's like it's enjoyable. It's a very easy listen, but it doesn't have that special thing that the other songs on this album have. So easy listen, but nothing special. Still like it because it's IVE, but I won't go out of my way to listen to it. So the battery of my camera just died. I had to switch to my phone, so I hope the change in the visual and sound quality is not too jarring that takes you out of this video. That is actually why I'm wearing my earphones, because well, I don't have a microphone that goes with my phone. So I hope everything is like it was until now. Editing me, do your best to make it the most like smooth transition ever, and let's continue with this review because I really didn't want to start over like tomorrow or just wait for the battery to charge, because until then I think I will lose my flow and not be able to film properly. So the next song on this list, on this review, it is A Next Page. This song, the rap verses were also written by Gaul and Ray, which is still really nice. And this song has this very like relaxed hip-hop and R&B beats all throughout it, but mainly through their verses, which is really nice. I did really enjoy that. It gives off like Red Velvet vibes, which I was not expecting from an IVE'S song. And I noticed now that all my references so far have been 3rd gen. I could have gone with 2nd gen as well, but I might have lost some of you. And actually, talking about Red Velvet, a little side tangent, I went to their show in Berlin. Amazing. The live vocals, the performance, the charisma, the choreo, the sets, the outfits, everything so nice. And because it was a smaller venue, it felt a little bit more personal. I don't know why. I was much closer to the stage. If you want to see some bits of it, because I don't think I will be able to post it on like YouTube Shorts, you can go on my Instagram, like a shameless plug in midst video. You can go on my Instagram and check them out. I would gladly have you in my community. I don't know how you say it. We can just follow each other on Instagram and share our experiences, especially because in September I'm going to Twice's show as well. So happy. Okay, my 3rd gen heart is really happy about it. But going back to IVE and Next Page, and so this song is definitely up my alley. I like it a whole lot. I like the vibe of it. It's, you might think that it is the same thing as Not Your Girl because it has a much like fun, pretty vibe to it, but not at all. I think they are really different from one another, and I do like Next Page a whole lot more. The synths are really pretty. There is like this fun vibe for the pre-chorus and chorus as well that I appreciate a whole lot. So I had a blast listening to it. The vocals are really on point as well. So yeah, Next Page, one of my favorites as well. Then we move on to one of my favorite songs of this album as well. That is Cherish, and it is another R&B pop, and I love it so freaking much. This song definitely has a little bit of like funkiness added to it, while still being very much so laid back, or more laid back compared to the previous songs we just talked about. It gives off a little bit of like Le Seraphim, Impurities song, or Sour Grapes. That same sort of type of vibe, which is my vibe. I like it. Oyeon's little pre-chorus vocal sounds so freaking nice. Garrett and Iso do a really nice job during the chorus together and sounds so nice. The synth is very much so clean and a little bit more on the classic side of things, but still really well polished all throughout the song. It is simple with a minimalistic instrumental and it sounds so freaking good. This is one of those songs that sounds effortlessly cool and just the type of song that you want to listen over and over again, because it's still laid back, still a little bit funky, has a lot of dynamics to it. It's a little bit of a roller coaster, but not going all over the place with a lot of contrast between one part and the other. It's really well balanced and I like that a whole lot about it. This is why I like this song so much. The vocals are very much so more on the R&B side of things in terms of the style. They're not so much airy, but they have a lot more sustenance to it. The beat is really nice as well throughout it. It creates such an interesting song, like from the very start with Ray's rap verses starting. The song creates such a nice vibe to it. It is a little bit muffled, it has a little bit of an effect to it, and it just creates such a infectious song. I like to listen to it a whole lot. Like so far, I like most of the songs here. Just checking out my notes. And last but not least, we have Shine With Me. This song was written by Uyeon, and I think she was the sole writer of this song, and it is a song that is dedicated to the fans. Which tends to be the case for like mini albums, in this case an album, full-length album that only has 10 songs, so it's like a small full-length album. They always have, or they tend to have, a song dedicated to the fans at the end of it, which I think still that it is really nice, because it tends to be the song that they can sort of solidify the relationship that they have with the fans. And I must say, it's definitely the type of song that doesn't affect me as much as I wanted it to. Like, I don't feel like that connection all that much, because also I don't speak Korean, so it creates a distance between me as a fan and them, because we don't speak the same language. But that's besides the point. Like, it's more the psychological side of it. In this song Shine With Me, we have this acoustic ballad track where Uyeon and all the members sing about how sad IVE members were before the fans appear, how they've gotten through a lot of different hardships, but now that they are together with the fans, everything seems to be possible and everything is alright. But I sort of understand why they do this sort of thing, and I think they really mean it for the most part, so it's really nice to end the album on that note. I think since I've listened to the entire album countless times, it's not the type of song that I went out of my way to listen to it again. Not at all. I just listen to it while I listen to the rest of the album. It's a nice song, but not much added to it. It's more like the emotional weight that it has. Now that I've done the entire review of IVE'S album, my final thoughts is that for this album in particular, I've decided to show a more evolved sound that they want to create, showcasing their new sort of abilities, proving also the anti-fans wrong by showcasing their live vocals, by being super charismatic on stage, by just evolving and growing and maturing, not only how they perform or maturing as performers, but also maturing their sound, experimenting with different other types of sounds and styles and exploring that a lot more. And I like to see that, because with a group that grew in popularity so fast as IVE did, it's really nice to see them just being so self-aware of what is going on, of all the different discussions, and wanting to evolve and create new things. In my opinion, it is a really well done job for this new release. It has been a long time now since it came out, so you all know how successful it was and how IVE is doing so freaking well. Since then, they also released another Japanese song called Wave, which I enjoyed so freaking much. It definitely has this title track infectious sound that makes you just listen to it over and over again and then just sing along, like the W-A-A-V. I do a terrible job, but the melody is so infectious and I like it a whole lot. So needless to say, I am a big fan of IVE. I really want to see how they will evolve in the future, what they will show us in the future. And yeah guys, my favorite songs I mentioned all throughout it. I can leave them in the description box if you want to see more info on that. Either way guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it, I hope you enjoyed it. Stick around for more. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video and all of that. It helps quite a lot. And I hope I'll see you in my next one. Bye!